Hey everybody, JC Parets here, founder of Trend Labs, and I am thrilled to be here on Stock Market TV with my good friend, Mr. Riley Rosebee. How are you, sir?
I'm well, JC. How are you?
Listen, I don't know if all the folks know about you. I called you one day. I'm like, hey, do you want to go meet these guys in Thailand? We really need you to go right away. You called me in like 10 minutes. You had already packed your bag. You're like, yeah, I'm already looking for flights. Is that what I
Yep.
sent you, or did I send you to Tokyo?
No, we went to Vietnam first, and then from Vietnam, Hong Kong,
That's right.
Manila, the
That's right.
Philippines, Tokyo.
So I was like, hey,
Nice
I
little
need you
Asia.
to go to Ho Chi Minh, is what it was, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. So I need you to go to Ho Chi Minh. You're like, I'm good. Here's the thing, guys. I sent him to help out, some of our guys out there that were traveling. They just needed extra hands, and I figured Riley might be down. Sure enough, that was actually correct. This dude, we literally sent him to just help out and just hang out, and he brings his golf clubs. Dude, I could have killed you. I could have killed you. When I heard you took your golf clubs, I'm like, are you kidding me? This guy went to Ho Chi Minh from Colorado. He brought his golf clubs. Oh my.
What can I say? What can I say? They're made in Japan, so I got to bring them back to the motherland.
Dude, you are on another level. I love you so much. All
One of
right.
a
So
kind.
why we're here, folks, I appreciate you being here. This nice introduction to Mr. Riley Rosebee, a trader, a thinker, a friend, a great golfer, clearly taking his clubs around the world. Riley really dives deep into the future, which I'm fascinated with. I have some investments, of course, into the future, no doubt, but I just like learning about space exploration and batteries and, new forms of energy that we can use and all things AI and quantum. I mean, like, I'm fascinated by all that stuff because let's be serious. I don't know about anything about any of these things. I trade the stocks and I am always looking for opportunities in the stock market from this space. Pun intended, I guess. And when Riley's going to dive in here, let's just go right into it. Can you show this table? Just the top 10 performing stocks over the last year are literally all of the things that I just said, like literally. And what's hilarious about it is that Riley is so entrenched in this that he didn't even realize it. Like he's like, what? It wasn't surprising when you bring it up, but I was surprised by it too when I heard it. Then I told him, he's like, whoa. So we look, and sure enough. So Riley, why don't you walk us through the best performing stocks over the last year and how they all fit within your realm, which is hilarious. And what's going on here?
Yeah, so I think the most intriguing one is definitely the top of the list here, Palantir, and they are really just powering everything that has to do with infrastructure regarding AI. I want to jump ahead real quick to this quote because this quote was from Alex Karp, the founder of Palantir's book. We are playing with the hottest thing since the discovery of fire, and that's in regards to AI, and that's from Peggy Newman, Wall Street Journal columnist and former speechwriter to President Ronald Reagan. So there's some pretty high accolades there. And in my mind, Alex Karp is kind of the best thinker. You could say he's the Steve Jobs of our generation. But going back up into this table, JC, you're right.
You don't think that's a little dramatic, Riley? The Steve Jobs of our generation? You think it's like that?
I think it's like that. Have you
Wow,
looked at
that's a
watched an
powerful
interview?
statement, Riley.
Have you watched an interview with Alex?
No, I have. I know, but that's a big statement, is all I'm saying.
Have you looked at the stock? I know we're going to look at some charts here in a little bit, but
Oh, so what do you think? Am I crazy? I mean, that's a bold statement. You're out there listening. I appreciate you being here, guys. This is fun for me. I hope it is for you. Love talking about this stuff. Love learning about this. And like I've learned about so many things, I've learned about it through the stock market. Like my wife, all she buys is these ons. And the only reason that she knows about it is because I was trading the stock. I bought a pair for myself just to see what all the hype was about. She's like, oh, should I get a pair? I'm like, yeah, get a pair. Let me know what you think. So she buys it. That's all she buys now. And the other day she's like, right. So the way I learn about things is through the stock. So, this is fantastic. So guys, if you're out there listening, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. All right, Riles,
let's get back to this. Let's get back to this table because I really want to kind of put all the puzzle pieces together because JC, you're right. You look at the names on this list, and on the far right-hand side here, these themes. We have AI, energy, biotech, space. There's a payment processor in there, but then another space, AI, healthcare, AI, quantum computing, digital assets. These are the things of the future. And not all of these names are the names I want to touch on today, but I really kind of want us to zoom out and look at the four ingredients to a paradigm shift. You could call it a paradigm shift. You could call it, an industrial revolution, a renaissance. And I know I'm throwing out big words, but I think they're warranted right now because the four ingredients are communication, energy, means of production, and transportation. And we need all four of those elements to have one of these, paradigm shift, industrial revolution type periods. So today, in regards to communication, we have instant communication. JC, we're able to do this live call from anywhere in the world. I could be potentially on the moon and we could be jumping on this call.
Dude, does that mean that you would be mooning? Is that what that would mean?
I think I would be mooning.
You would be mooning. That's cool. When I grew up, mooning meant something else, but okay.
Well, I mean, I could be mooning while I'm mooning,
Wow.
You never know. You don't know what's down here. You don't know what's down below.
That explodes.
Satellite broadband is going to enable a next generation of communication that we have yet to see.
You're seeing it already. You're seeing it. Like my friend has like one of those big bougie, not caravans, but like what are those things called? Like the house but on wheels.
Or just like a Sprinter van.
Yeah, but like way bigger. Like it's got rooms and bathrooms and the whole thing. It's like one of those like RV. It's like a super like high-end RV, like all customizing shit. He's got one of those satellite things because he goes all over the country, all these national parks and stuff. And he's got one of those, what's the one from Elon? The space
Starlink.
thing?
Starlink.
He's got one of those on his thing.
I mean, it's necessary. I grew up in a small town in Colorado. Probably you could go 15, 20 minutes from where I grew up and you would lose service,
Definitely.
And
you're already seeing it, bro.
It's not ideal.
All right, can we get to the robots? Because I'm thinking about buying one of these robot dogs.
Let's get to energy. Let's pump our brakes a little bit. We have nuclear and then advanced battery technology, which is going to power and enable your robots to come to life. Because it's not just you that's going to have a robot, JC. There's going to be millions, maybe billions of humanoids and robots around the world.
What could go wrong? 10 years. What could go wrong?
I mean, we've seen enough sci-fi movies to understand the negative implications, but I don't think we've seen enough like optimistic outlooks on how great this truly could be.
Dude, I'm in. I'm gonna teach. Imagine teaching your robot how to make old fashions, or how if you're one of these coffee people. Like I'm not, but
build a house.
Coffee people. To make the coffee for you, like the way you like it, like all kinds of stuff. I'm more interested in like building some real things that are actually going to help us though. Cause we have a little bit of a housing crisis. Got it.
Why not?
My mind's in the wrong place.
It's a little too, dude, you're thinking too small. You're thinking way too small.
I'm thinking cappuccino. You're thinking about like saving lives in Africa.
Absolutely.
Got it. I feel like such an asshole.
All right. Means of production. And this is where you're touching on, JC, humanoids and robots. And then finally, and this is probably the thing that gets me the most excited, is transportation. Robotaxis, we're already seeing autonomous vehicles all over the country. I know Waymo is just going through their own little hockey stick moment at this point. Have you ridden in a Waymo?
Actually? No, I haven't, actually. I found it fascinating that like the CEO, was it the CEO or the founder of Waymo or the guy who runs it for, I think it's Google, right? That owns it?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so I think that the guy who runs it, he took his whole family and like his kids in it, and he's like, you see, like I was like, whoa, that was.
Dude, so I've been riding in those things since like 2017, 2018, because they had them down in Phoenix. Yeah. I mean, they had people in the driver's seat kind of holding onto the wheel, and then they had another guy in the passenger seat, and you could see all the little computers and everything. These things have been around, and they're awesome. And I think you need to take a trip to Phoenix or San Francisco and
do they have them in Pittsburgh? Didn't they have them in Pittsburgh, or am I making that up?
You might be making that up. Waymo's
Pittsburgh's cool though. I just wanted a reason to go to Pittsburgh.
I've never been.
What else we got?
All right, so I compiled some other tables and breaking it up into those four themes I was talking about. So these are the communication stocks to watch: Netflix, Spotify, Duolingo, Palantir, Roblox, Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, EchoStar, Iridium Communications, AST Space Mobile, which is another one of those satellite telecommunications companies, and Reddit. Do you want me to dive into any of these, or do you want me to just keep jumping through these tables?
I like how you're sorting these things differently, right? So like you've got your communication stocks, which is quote unquote communications, right? I guess these are sorted pretty Meta, Alphabet, you're including Microsoft in there.
Copilot integrates with Teams, the entire Microsoft Office suite. I mean, that's enterprise communications at its finest.
What's interesting is the energy, right? So Rolls-Royce, contrary to popular belief, they're like automaking businesses like next to nothing, right? They just make like huge, crazy engines, right?
Well, BMW owns the automaker of Rolls-Royce. So the public company Rolls-Royce is just in jet propulsion technology. However, I mean, I think it was like 6 weeks ago, they did a press release saying how they're going to put a nuclear reactor on the moon. Crazy
Dude, that's so
stuff.
cool.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. We got some
That's really interesting.
more robotic stocks, and then, like I said, my favorite kind of basket in here is the transportation, and there's some fascinating names in this list. Uber.
Dude, BYD, the Tesla of China. That's the one.
I got a fun fact for you about BYD. Did you know Warren Buffett bought a stake in like 2008?
Stop, really?
Who
Anything
who would
meaningful or
have
not really?
10% of the company?
Wow.
So who would have thought Warren Buffett is a forward thinker?
Dude, shout out Uncle Warren. Seriously, shout out Uncle Warren.
Shout out Uncle Warren.
All-time highs, all-time monthly closing highs for Berkshire Hathaway, by the way. Shout out Charlie Munger. Rest in peace. But man, Uncle Warren killing it. The only person I know that I could think of who's 95 years old and is investing for the long term. Crazy.
Why not?
So
he sticks to what he knows. That's investing for the long term.
I want to stick on this. Hold on. I want to stick to this because I have a huge position in Tesla and I see what BYD is doing. We're going to get into the names now. So hold on, save it. One more question. So you got why is there like so guys, we're gonna get into the individual stocks now, which is at the end of the day why we're here in the first place. But I'm really just fascinated by all of this. So bear with me here, right? Why is it that these payment company guys, Elon, and then you got the guy from Shift 4, right? Jared Isaacman, and they're like payment processing companies, but they're all interested in like space exploration, and there tends to be this like blend of those two areas. Like the guy from Shift 4, which is a payments company, is now running NASA, right? And like Elon and these other guys, they come from
JC,
PayPal.
I think you said it earlier though. You use the stock market to look ahead and learn about the future. These guys have so much data regarding commerce. They're like, we see where the future's going.
Got it. Fair. Got it. No, that's fair. Like, why is Google so good at investing and doing things right? Because they have all the information.
All the data. They got all the data.
They got all the data. Okay. That makes sense. That's fascinating. I love that. Okay.
It's an interesting perspective, though. I didn't.
It is a great. It's fascinating. I love this shit. All right, guys. I hope you're paying attention because this is where the nitty gritty. All right. So I'm talking my book here. I got the common. I got this option. I got that option. I got a diversified portfolio of Tesla plays. Talk to me about why I'm going to make so much money on my trade.
Well, I think really Tesla for me is like the heuristic as to whether or not this theme and this trend is going to play out. They are involved in so many different things beyond their automobile manufacturing. They're leading the way with humanoids. Potentially, we have yet to see the humanoids come out, but I know the humanoids are baked into the stock, and we've been seeing the signs of relative strength. Tesla's starting to perk up. And I love this long-term monthly chart. JC, what do you always say? The bigger the base, the higher in space. And again, we're going to have plenty of space puns.
Folks, are you listening to this guy right here? Listen to me. This guy right here, this guy has been following me around and we've been hanging out all over the country. I mean, just, having a good time, skiing together and, in the city and doing all kinds of stuff. And he's heard me talk about the market over and over and over again. So like when he says these things, he knows his audience. He knows where he can get me. He's like, oh, the bigger the base. He's like, oh, JC's going to love that.
Look at this base though. I mean, Tesla really hasn't done anything since what? Midway through 21?
I know.
If this thing turns higher,
buddy, I love it.
If this thing turns higher, and then like you were talking about earlier, the BYD, the Tesla of China looks even better than Tesla.
If the Tesla of China is making these highs and they look exactly the same, you think one's going to make new all-time highs and the other one is not? They look exactly the same. When you overlay those charts in one chart, they look exactly the same, dude. Exactly the same. So like
this trend is real. It's not a company specific trend. It's not one company doing its thing. It's the broad trend. I hate to throw out the word macro, but it's a macro trend.
No, I mean, listen, you're talking my book, right? So obviously I think it goes higher. I'm certainly positioned for it.
I got a question for you, JC, though. Do you think this is a top in NVIDIA? Because I certainly think this is more of a bottom than a top.
I think it is a continuation of a massive uptrend, if you really want to know my opinion. But if you want to go back, one more thing that I was going to tell you is that another reason why I'm in the Tesla instead of the BYD, because normally I'd want to be in the one with more relative strength. Like I'd rather be in Mercado Libre than Amazon because Mercado Libre looks better. In this case, it's the opposite. The actually it's the same thing. The foreign one looks better than the domestic one. It's really the exact same thing. But the foreign one, BYDDY, it trades on the pink sheet. So there's no options market. So because I want to be in the derivatives, I'm in the Tesla, but it's the same play.
It's the same play. It's this macro trend. So NVIDIA obviously is going to be powering all of this future technology. Their semiconductors are the leader in the market. And, they were a stock market darling for 2023 and 2024. And I, like you said, I think this uptrend is going to continue. And then Palantir, and this is an absolute workhorse. This here's the daily chart, a little bit shorter time frame, but I like to look at this weekly chart. Look at that IPO base. The IPO bases might be some of my favorite bases out there, and this might be one of the most epic IPO bases I've ever seen.
I couldn't agree more. Meta's a good one too, but I agree. These huge bases after the IPO, when they break out, forget it. See ya.
Forget it. And then Netflix. Netflix has its 11th straight positive day today, and few weeks back, the company announced how it's using AI to reinvent discovery, which is not just going to be a win for the consumer. It's going to be a win for the creators because I want to say 90% of all of Netflix's content 90% of the watch hours on Netflix's content is about 1% of the total library. So 99% of Netflix's library goes unwatched. Maybe not completely unwatched, but you catch my drift. Like it's a massive bell curve in that regard. 11 straight positive days. Not something to be bearish. Spotify's doing the same thing, integrating
Hold on,
AI.
I want to point something out to the audience. Guys, I hope you're paying attention because I especially with friends, I like to break balls and I like to have a good time and make fun and everything like that. Life is short. And I was telling Riley, I've been telling him that his charts need to get better. They need to get cleaner. That you got to label them better. We need the logo. Like you got to make your charts look good. Take pride in your charts. And I got to tell you, Riley, these charts are lovely. I just want you to know how happy it makes me. So, folks, if you're listening out there, I'm here to tell you that somebody's listening. Somebody out there is listening.
Here's
to
the
my
deal
nonsense.
for the folks listening out there. We talked about 2 hours ago, and you were busting my balls for the chart. So I'm happy that they're appeasing your fancy.
Dude, seriously, well done. Ryan.
I have more charts though, and you said we have a hard out in 8 minutes, so we got to bust through these. I followed your footsteps too well and brought too many charts. Spotify.
Welcome to my world, buddy. Welcome to my world. I love this chart. What a chart. What a chart. Shout out Luxembourg. This is from Luxembourg, isn't it?
I believe so. What is that?
So what a chart, man.
What a chart. Duolingo, another one, AI first company. Actually, earlier this week, they shared an internal email that literally said Duolingo is an AI first company. They're no longer going to be hiring third-party contractors because AI is going to be able to take over that work.
Yep.
And look at this earnings breakout. Absolutely beautiful. And then we're going to start kind of moving in some of the transportation names, but Uber here, I know you and your team have been talking about Uber like crazy. This long-term Uber chart, I don't think that's going lower. I think that's going higher. Man. Uber's well integrated. They're operating some of the Waymos. Uber Eats. I don't know how often you Uber eat, but I got a lot of friends that do.
I'm more of a Grub hover. I'm a Grub hover.
Okay. Well, maybe try Uber Eats. I don't know.
I'm a DoorDasher. I never Uber Eats. Maybe I should.
Have you seen the little robots? Have you seen the little robots from Serve Robotics that are now delivering autonomously for Uber Eats?
I haven't. So you know what? That's my homework. Order Uber Eats. All right, I'm in.
Well,
all right, what else?
The robots aren't going to come to your door. The robots aren't going to come to your door.
Guys, I hope you got out there. I hope you guys are like watching this. Isn't this great? These are fascinating companies. That's the whole thing about this space. Like, we're trading the stock and we're making money and all that stuff is great. But like all of these are really cool stuff. Like it's really cool. All right.
JC, we're going to move to space. I know this is kind of one of your favorite topics. And before we jump into a chart, I do want to say there was a press release today from NASA saying President Trump's fiscal year 2026 budget revitalizes human space exploration. I don't think that's a bearish heuristic for the entire space industry. I think if the folks at the top are moving the needle and want to see space exploration, I think that's where we're going to go. And here is a company that is similar to Starlink, AST Space Mobile, absolute beautiful monster move in 2024. This was actually one of the names on our lists at the very beginning. And just this morning, Google announced a 4% stake in the company worth $200 million. We were just talking about Google as a pretty good investor. I don't necessarily want to be betting against Google if they got all the data. We got Rocket Lab, and then take a look at this weekly chart of Rocket Lab. Obviously, it got beaten down because these are highly speculative names. You know, they're not really generating a ton of profit at this point. But look at that absolute monster move in the latter half of last year. We had that nice little. We resolved, and it looks like we're going to be testing those all-time highs soon.
Yeah.
And to power all this stuff, we're going to jump into nuclear energy and these small modular nuclear reactors. Strong moves at the end of last year. And again, very similar charts to this Rocket Lab. They're just starting to resolve higher. You know, look at these little bases that are forming up. And then here's another small modular name, nanonuclear energy.
And then can you explain something to me? So as somebody who knows nothing, you're like, oh, space is one of JC's favorite things. I don't know anything about space. I know nothing. I know like less than nothing. I like to look up at the stars. I'm like, that's beautiful. I don't know what's going on up there. Just to be clear. And same thing with nuclear. I know nothing about nuclear. Here's what I do know. I know I've been trading these stocks for about 15 years or so I know all these stocks. How come all the ones that I know of uranium, you're not mentioning any of them, and all of the ones you are mentioning, I've never heard of? What's different about these?
Well, these small modular reactors are going to be able to be deployed in emergency response systems, in remote locations. You know, there's a completely new use case. I think probably why, you know, we're not seeing the relative strength out of the uranium names is just it's a commodity at this point. Whereas this is the new sexy technology. And you can clap back at me if my thinking there is wrong, but that's kind of how I'm seeing it.
I will not clap back at you because I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay, let's keep going though. Robots. You like robots. How about robotics in agriculture? So in 2022, Deere displayed its first autonomous tractor technology at CES. This year, the company doubled down, talking about advanced computer vision, AI, and cameras to help their, you know, autonomous tractors. I want to live in a world where there's an autonomous tractor. I want to be able to drive 100%. By a farm, see a combine, and see nobody in it, and it's just working for the farmer.
And at the end of the day, like, think about the size and the strength of this particular robot. Like, it is a very serious, heavy machinery. Like,
it's a big piece of machinery. Big.
It's better have a shut-off switch somewhere.
All right, and then ABB, which is based out of Switzerland, global leader in industrial automation. In 2026, the company is going to spin off its robotics division to create a new company. Again, these aren't bearish heuristics. Like, all these things are lining up and pointing towards this way of the future. What a chart there, though. I love kind of this little, you know, oops move.
Isn't that hook. Like, and then this is your favorite name. Let's go. Just give the people what they want. All right,
this
guys.
Is my favorite name.
Favorite name.
Well, who doesn't want a flying car?
Archer warrants. I own Archer warrants. That's Riley. Every time I talk to him.
Everybody wants flying cars, and these aren't technically flying cars. They're eVTOLs, so electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. But yes, Archer Aviation looks fantastic. Up 15-ish% today. I haven't totally checked before the close here, but absolute monster move. Again, we saw these monster moves in Q3 and Q4 last year, and we're just now starting to see those bases get built and resolve higher. Here is the weekly chart. We are right at the scene of the crime. You know, this is the SPAC price. $10 is the SPAC price from when these names went public in 21. We're right there. We were talking about Palantir's.
A couple of things.
You're talking about Palantir's IPO base. We got an IPO base that is yet to break out, shaping up right here as we speak.
There's so much happening here. So first of all, we were talking about that IPO base, just like Riley said. Second of all, this is a SPAC, like he said, which these things come out at $10. So that $10 is like a huge level, not just psychologically, not just resistance as the market has proven here, but just as a function of the type of vehicle in which this is. That 10 is so important. So above 10, sky's the limit. Like there's another layer of
There's another
resistance when you
pun.
add the fact that it's a SPAC at 10.
It is. And that's
then
why
so it trades warrants too.
that's why I'm long the warrants, because those warrants, they don't expire until September of 2026, strike price of 11.50. And these birds are supposed to take flight in Dubai before the end of the year. And in my mind, if these birds take flight, you know, the animal spirits are going to be in full effect, and we should see some pretty epic moves. And Joby is another name.
Hold on, I want to just stop right there because I know some of the folks are like, "Oh, what warrants? What is he talking about?" Guys, if you're listening and you're wondering what warrants he's talking about, a warrant is similar to an option, except that an option is issued by the exchange. A warrant is issued by the company. So there's just one expiration, there's one price, and it's issued by the company. It's not issued by the exchange like you're trading, you know, Tesla options or Microsoft options. These are issued by, so if you're looking on your brokerage firm and you're interested in trading any warrants of any kind, you can put in the name of the company or the name of the stock and put warrants, and usually it's like .w or /w. It depends on what brokerage you're using, but it'll be usually the ticker symbol and then something and then W. Right?
So
or WT.
I got two more charts, JC. Joby is another.
Some people are asking about that because they, you know, we take it for granted, but we get questions like that. So hope that helps, guys.
I'm too in the weeds. I appreciate the perspective there. But so Joby is another one of these eVTOL companies here in the US. And part of the reason I'm long Archer relative to Joby is based off this chart here. This is a ratio chart between Archer and Joby. And literally today, it made a new all-time high.
Joby is not American?
No, it is. Joby is. These are the two American eVTOL companies. And
all right,
literally today, juice. On a relative basis, okay, you want the juice, we're going to go to China.
Give me the juice, baby. Give the people what they want.
We're going to go to China, and this is the EHang. And they make eVTOLs as well, and that is an absolute monster move. Look at that move back in what would that be? Late 2020, early 21, going from like what $8 to 120-ish, you could say. This thing has yet to break out. It tried to test it earlier this year. It got rejected. If this whole trend, if the animal spirits start going, I think EHang is about to take flight. Again, dude, another pun. We just got puns for days.
Dude, take flight. I love the birds in Dubai. Was it Dubai?
Birds are going in Dubai.
Birds are going in Dubai. No, I love it. So this is the what of China? This is the Archer of China.
You could say it's the Archer of China.
The Archer of China. I always like it when it's like the something of China, like, oh, the Google of China or the Amazon of China. I always get it because it makes it easy for me to understand. Like I get like there's some differences, of course, but you know, it's that of that, right?
It's that of that. That's right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I know we went over a little bit. 2 minutes over. 2 minutes over. We didn't start till a little bit after though.
No, Riley, this was so fun. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. For me, you know, understanding sort of the concept of the future and sort of what things to look for, transportation, energy, space exploration, robotics, like all of that stuff, you know, AI, you know, quantum and all that stuff, put it into one category of the future. And then show me the stocks, right? Show me the stocks, because here's how I see it. Like, yeah, this is a sexy story. And yeah, we're going to land on the freaking rock and we're going to get all these rare earth metals and be billionaires. And yeah, I get it. What I'm more interested is when the market starts to agree with that story, that's when I'm interested, right? So if it's a Fugazi story and the stock's not participating, then I'm not interested. So a lot of the ones that you brought up, a lot of them I'm pretty familiar with, which I thought was cool. You definitely brought some new ones to my attention, but you know, it kind of helps give some perspective as to the market is a voting mechanism and the market is telling us which ones we should be paying attention to, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right.
The future is reflexive, JC. If the price is moving that way, I think we're going to head that way.
Wow. I love that, Riley. Look at this guy. Guys, I hope you're paying attention. Riley, excellent job, my friend. Everybody, Mr. Riley Rosebee.
Thank you, JC.
At Godspeed, you'll be hearing from him. He'll be sending you his work, and highly encourage you to give it a read. I enjoy it myself, obviously. How can you not? And we're going to make money from it, which is even better. So that's all I got to say about that.
That's all. Enjoy your weekend, JC. I'll see you soon.
All right, Riley. Adios. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate you.